Hi, I'm Dave Robinson, and welcome to another screencast where I'll be using R and RStudio to analyze data I've never seen before. As usual, the data comes from the Tidy Tuesday project, an amazing weekly data project in R run by the R for Data Science online learning community. Now let's get started. Let's see what we have this week. Oh, I forgot to mention that I am screencasting this live, and one of my favorite parts of these screencasts is getting to hear from people as I'm doing these analyses. I want to hear ideas. I want to hear suggestions and questions about the code. It's really one of those exciting parts about doing these. So if you're here now, please do chime in. I am able to read all the text. And let's see what we have. I don't know anything about this data except that it's about water point data exchange, okay? It's filtered down largely to African sources, some core columns, so the data set's really large, and amount of water point data being collected. Let's see. Okay, so it seems like things like wells and water services, water access. Anyone see that movie Minari? It got some Oscar buzz, and it was about finding water access in I think it's Tennessee, or and finding in America was a plot point. But this sounds largely about finding water in Africa. All right, so sharing this data has potential to improve water access for millions of people as a result of better information available to government service providers, researchers, NGOs, and more. All right, let's take a look at the data. And I usually start off by doing tidy Tuesday R, use tidy template. I like to kick off with a library scales theme set theme light. And I usually don't use this later part of the code. I like to grab in the data from TT Tidy Tuesday, and let's see, TT, and I can look up the README right here. Longitude, latitude. We're probably going to be doing a map. Are we doing an animation? Yes, we probably will be doing an animation because we have an install year. Installer, the payment. Okay, I guess. We're gonna look at like status. We're gonna look at pay. Okay, I think we're gonna be doing maps today because it's about what locations these water sources are. I think in Africa, and status at the time of the visit, the source, it's a cleaned version of this, and the technology. Okay, so we have a lot of categorical variables here. It looks like. So I can look at a bunch of rows of this. Oh, I meant to do TT water, and I'm going to save this as water. If we need cleaning later, I'll do cleaning. All right. First, I can see the report date is in an M. Is that MDY? Yeah, that's MDY, and I should probably process into a data object. What else can I see? They have install year. I think that's numeric. And it looks like there's 473,000 data points. Okay, so a lot of source of water protected. And yeah, so the first cleaning step I can see is that we can use the Lubridate package to clean the report date is MDY of report date, month, day, year. All right, that'll let me work with it a little more easily if I need to. Long and lat. Yeah, I hope you don't mind if I just rename these to long and lat. I'm going to have a hard time remembering to do DEG for degrees for each. Yeah, let's take a look at some of the categorical variables. I'm going to want to look at, for instance, like, okay, status ID, mostly yes, some no, some unknown, maybe. Okay, U for unknown. All right. I'm also going to be interested in water source. Large set, borehole, protected shallow well, protected spring, undefined shallow well, surface water like a river, stream, lake, pond, or dam. Cool. So the most common by far is a borehole, and I can't tell you the difference between protected shallow wells and. I guess we should probably look this up, but water point data exchange. I wonder if we have like documentation or man, here we go. The no, we don't have any documentation in this doc, but do I have documentation in the water point data exchange? Each row is yeah. let's see, I'm just seeing if I can say, okay, describe the water source. Now it looks like it's text, and then there's a cleaned version. It's not telling me anymore. Yeah, it's not telling me any more like information here than, what happened to my back button, you know? Um, it's not telling me any more information. Okay. I wonder if there's a link. Oh, here it is. If I want, I might come back and like look at some of these, get some more documentation. All right, but let's look at what else we know about it. We said water, count, water. I already did. Wait, there's water. It actually says water source clean, but here in its name water source. Let's say water tech and hand pump, and there are many brands of hand pump: rope and bucket, tap stand, kiosk. Looks like, yeah, okay, and then a lot of missing data. All right, and I bet the missing data, I bet the missing data has a little bit to do with, if you say water source and water tech, those kind of combine together. Yeah, like, no, not necessarily. It's like boreholes tend to have hand pumps, but no, there's also missing data from boreholes or Texas spring. I'm just thinking that like some of them might have particular types that are more common. All the hand pumps are separate. Here we go, mechanized pump. I can actually separate this out. I actually think I'd like to. I like to separate out water tech into two columns, water tech and brand. Sep is this. And I actually want to say if fill equals right. What do I mean by fill equals right? I mean that if there's no space slash space dash space. The story is that I might just want to separate out like the tech. Oops, this didn't work. Or maybe let's see, maybe it did. Let's see, count water, tech. Oh, it worked. Yeah, okay, so the story is like I want to separate out the water source, hand pump, tap stand, etc. from the brand column, which is like, okay, each hand pump or mechanized pump might have a brand. I'm suspecting these are like brands. All right, so I always want to separate those out. Okay, and then I've also got the install. I've got the install year. I wonder what period of time that is. Could group this by decade or something. Yeah, a lot of the data sets we look at kind of have this like surge where a lot of the data is recent. We don't know exactly whether that's, okay, yes, a lot more water setups were installed in this time period, or if it's about that we lack data on ones that were installed before. Maybe they no longer exist. But we can see a lot of the data is in the last 20 years. But it's still a solid amount of time. Not like we're looking at 4 years of data here or something like that. So that means we can do an animation if we're interested. We can say here's where water started popping up. Yeah, it also looks like we're including a couple years. So if I said water install year is greater than 2021, what do I see? Yeah, I see report dates and install year 2041. Those are probably transcription errors, something like that. So really I could say I think I could say anything with an install date later than a report date, but I'm just going to be simple and say, let's say mutate install year equals if else install year greater than 2021, then NA, otherwise we're good with install year. I want to make that missing data. It's just nice because then if I do this visualization, my bad. This actually needs to be, I think this actually needs to be NA real. This is super confusing. This if else ended up coercing everything to be logical, which is super frustrating. I could have flipped the order and there would have been another way to fix it. But here I'm going to try this again. What happened is it said NA by default is logical, and the if else forced the second one to be the same format as the first one. Hey, look at that. This didn't this thing that I did didn't seem to work. Count but filter. Oh, actually not sure what's going. Oh, filter install year greater than 1990. There it is. Okay, that's the graph I was looking for. Right. All right. So the and yeah, we can say like, okay, this is in the last like 30 years. Try 40. What's it look like? Okay, we can do in the last 40 years. How many were installed in each year? Of course, we can do an animation over the last couple decades if we're so inclined. All right, and the let's look at some others. Other of the categorical columns. We already mentioned install year. Oh, country name. Uganda, Nigeria, Sierra Leone. Okay, so it looks like I wonder if it's entirely Africa. It said it's mostly African sources. I don't know enough about geography to say whether there are any of these countries that aren't in Africa. Peru is not, but yeah, we'll take a look when we put this on a map. We'll see if there's any other, if I'm missing any countries that aren't in Africa here. I probably do want to just filter out Peru. I'm going to say filter is NA country. I don't know if were there any NAs? No. Oh, very few. So, but I'm actually I'm just gonna get rid of them. I'm gonna say not country is not equal to Peru. I'll actually do it as not country in Peru in case later I want to add another country to the list that we don't want to include. So I'm working just on getting this into the format that I'm most interested in. Oop. Country name. You know what? I want to rename. Got my finicky little opinions, and I like columns to be called country, not country name. All right, let's take a look at installer. This is great because it's like, all right, so tons of missing data, which I think makes sense if it's like surveying, but some non-governmental organizations, government, private and private person, I guess it's like private company versus private person, because World Vision's an organization, religious group, United Nation, local government versus local government, like I guess it's countries versus municipality or such. UNICEF, which I think is a UN organization, and nope, no, UN might be I don't remember, man. But yeah, and then we keep going down the list. All right, but again, lots of missing data. And then we also have pay no, water committee checks. All right, so this is not a clean column. No, never pay. They do not pay, not recorded. Only when there's a breakdown. So like, yeah, it's definitely not a clean data set. You know, I can look for, which I think is reasonable. Yeah, so it's definitely like pay 2.777. Yeah, this kind of stuff happens definitely in a lot of this data. And I'll keep track of, I'll make a note for ourselves like pay is a free text column. With a little work, we can probably get it to be pretty useful if we find ourselves interested in examining that column. And then we have status. We actually, I think we started with status and we're like, oh no, we're not, we didn't, we had status ID, which is Y and UN. So if I say what if I say status ID and status? Okay, like there's Y, N, it's like non-functional, functional. Okay, cool. So I think that Y, U, and N are like the kind of clean ones we can use. Whereas there's like functional and in use versus fully functional, it's not clear. And then functional, it's not 100% clear. Like, I wouldn't want to try and distinguish, does that mean that these aren't in use, etc. But I can use the status ID and maybe that'll be trustworthy. Okay, and yeah, so we've seen a lot of this. We're definitely going to be looking at some questions around these like these various categorical columns, but I think I'm going to want to start with I think I want to do a map because I think a lot of things we're going to be visualizing are going to be maps. First, let's see, we got any questions. One is from Sea Whales. What's the difference between coding a Markdown script and a regular R script? Here's what I really like about a Markdown script. I like that I can run an entire chunk. Like if I do if I've got, let's say, all of these counts, I like that I can go Command-Shift-C and run these 4 and not anything else, and not have to run every one individually. I also like that I can take free text notes in between. If I'm writing like a blog post or something like that, I'm going to take a lot of text in between the chunks. In case like this, it's going to be more like a couple little notes, like pay as a free text column, might want to clear, going to make maps, things like going to make maps, things like that. Or maybe up here I would say filtered out data from without a country or in Peru, and things like that. So this is how I tend to like working in R Markdown. All right, and yeah. So then let's make a map. We have water. Okay. Generally, we make a map. We tend to start with was it? Let me see. Every single time I get it wrong, I think it's lon and lat and geom point. Might just expect to see like a shape of Africa. Woof. This is slow. So noticing that it's slow because it has 473,000 data points, and I'm putting every single one on the map. One thing we can actually do is sample n. Let's pick like, while we're iterating on the map, let's pick only a couple data points, say random 10,000, and later we fill in the rest as we get to the visualizations we're interested in. Oh man, something's slow here. I think it doesn't love what just happened with that me trying to make that plot. Let me try and kill it. Yeah, let me try and kill this. It surprised me that 472,000 data points, like I get it would be slow, it surprised me it would cause this much of a dilemma. Oh man. All right, I'm gonna need to open up a whole. This is what a fun situation. I've got to open up a new our studio session, and let me see. I've got this. Okay. I might not need that new session. Oh nope, I do. I'm gonna copy everything I was working on just in case it didn't catch up. Okay, and I'm rerunning this, and it's gonna, okay, we finally caught up. All right, first thing I can see from this is that it's definitely not only Alaska, we have a few, pardon me, not only Africa, we have other countries. We also have, I don't understand how anything can be this far south. Is the, maybe I'm not. Oh, maybe yeah. Maybe this is Antarctica. I don't know my latitudes, or this doesn't look right, does it? How is latitude 0? Okay, let's try. Let's work with this a little bit. Imagine I said color equals country. I want to zero in on Africa, and let's take a look and see color equals country. It's going to be a lot of countries, and see what are the ones. Oh, when I sample 10,000. Most of them disappear, but I do see one out here. What's out here? Is that? There's one thing. Let me see. I can't tell which of these it is, and I'm really not. I bet one of these is a Caribbean island or something like this. But I'm really quite bad at my geography, so I'm going to quickly try and increase the sample. Country is not Timor. Is that? I don't know whether it's an African country or somewhere else, but I just have a guess, and I'm really just. Okay, I think I did remove that, and that seemed to work. What's up here? What's up here? You know, the way we can try and I know how I'm going to work with this is I'm going to get the center of every country. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do group by country. Summarize, lat equals mean lat, lon equals mean lon. Here we go. And now I'm going to plot lon lat, geom point, but I'm also going to throw in a geom text. Here we go. And now I can see, okay, yep, TimorLeste is definitely isn't right. Isn't right. This I bet is NA, but I thought I got rid of the NA. Or yeah, what's over here? I thought I got rid of the NAs, but maybe I hadn't. Not country in Peru. Huh. I thought that would actually remove it, but it looks like it doesn't. So I'll say not is NA country. And all right, so now, okay, I removed the NA. Let me see, I'm going to remove TimorLeste. Leste, whatever this is. All right, and what's all the way over there? I can't even read it in this, but if I arrange by lawn, I'll see it. Dominican Republic, yeah, that's in I think Central America. So I'll throw these into the list of countries that I want to include. Certainly, like I'm doing a map, yep, and we're a lot closer here. Okay, and cool, and yeah. Now let me try this again, where I've done this. I've done the removal of some countries already, and let's see how this map looks. We haven't even added the country borders yet. I'm going to do that in a second. Here it is. I think we just have some data points that are just messy data points, and we can say, I can throw in a couple things. I can say filter lat is greater than -30, and I'm less sure about up here. Like maybe I want to see, but I can't probably say lon is less than 60. I think there's just some I think there's just like some cases where it got the coordinates off by a little bit. Oof. Oh yeah, every time I do a sample, it gets these this situation. I can actually say between lat -30 and I don't know 20 about here, and between lon something and 60, we'll say I don't know -40 and 60. I'm just adding some like filters that I think basically box Africa in. We could go check this manually, but I think we're gonna I think it's gonna cover them. I'm gonna drop the color equals country. We're a lot closer now. I can't say exactly like I think some of these might be odd points, but we're definitely a lot closer. So to see the shape of Africa. So let's throw in let's throw in some country borders. Now, try to remember how I know how to get the world borders on here. What I do is I say borders world. Should probably do that under the points. But I want the borders just for the continent of Africa. So the question is, how can I map data? Let's see. Oh, I bet I can say, let's see. What would happen if I did borders Africa? Nope. So let's see. What if I did map data? And hold on. I reminded myself of this. Here it is, regions. Okay, this might work. Let's find out. Regions equals Africa. Let's see if this works at all. If I say borders world. Nope, it's not. Oh yeah, I see. I get it. I can actually ask just for the countries that we have data on. So I can actually. So I think that regions is like countries. So then in this case, so I can actually take country unique. Yeah, we're a lot closer. So this in this case only includes the countries that we have data on. I think that I'm gonna want to get a bit more control than this though. So I think I'm actually gonna say map data world as Tibble. Do I need as Tibble? It's in ggplot2. Oh. I don't understand why I wouldn't return as a table. Well, I do this and then I say, let's see, let me only get continent, the continent of Africa. So what I can do is I can say country. So I use a package I really like for this. It's called country code. So I'm going to say mutate continent equals country code. I get from region country.name equal it to continent.name. And this generally gives me, oh, it's not continent.name, I think it's just continent. I want to get the continent of each of these so I can filter down just for Africa. Oof. So this is a way that I can get a little bit more control over this map, is instead of borders, I put it in as a Geom polygon, data equals Africa map data, and it is long, AS long lat group equals group. This is another way of creating, and fill equals fill equals NA. I'm trying to remember how do I make them transparent is the question. I'm also going to, while I'm at it, do library GG themes and add in theme map. Oh, it's not fill NA. It's got to be fill. Try this out. All right, and I've got yep. What happened to my color equals gray? Taking my time to figure. Here we go. Okay, so this is putting them into kind of appropriate context. One thing I can see from this, they really stop right here. We don't. Is that just the case that we don't have Northern Africa? Quite possibly in terms of where this data set was collected, but the and I don't think I saw like Morocco on the list. But just to check, did I possibly set too low latitude? No, I don't think so. Like if I take I think 60 would cover all of Africa. So I don't think this is yeah, I don't think I'm manually cutting it off. Let me try sampling a larger number. Yeah, 200,000 is almost half of them. And no, yeah, I think there may be a few data points, but mostly it seems to be, mostly I think this is sub-Saharan Africa, but there's also other countries down here it doesn't include. All right, so these are the data points that we have. All right, I'm not going to sample this heavily because I think it's a little bit slow, but I am going to make some edits. One is that I want to try a smaller size. That's definitely closer. I might even want smaller than that. But see, these water points are very small. So this I think is pretty solid, and I can even try making them transparent. The advantage of making them transparent is that then if you have areas where a lot of them overlap, you can really see, okay, here's the dense areas. Whereas the little ones that stand on their own, you don't see as clearly. I'm also going to try size. I try making the polygon a little bit smaller. A little bit thinner, that is. Yep, that is kind of working, but it's probably too thin now. Wait, did it just change? Oh, I guess it changed shape because I added some point somewhere that it wasn't supposed to be. All right, then the yeah, this looks pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna throw in. Now I'm not gonna use color. So it looks like first we have very little in. I think this is Madagascar. We have There's some countries where we have a lot of data and some we have very little. That's making me think that at some point that we might want to look at we might want to just look at like one of these countries at a time, just because I need to look across all of Africa. It's clear that this data is very complete in some areas and plausibly very incomplete in others. So we might want to look at just one country at a time. We could do that in a second. Other thing I see from thanks Rajan is that we can actually say 35 degrees north to 37 degrees south. So okay, cool. So I can say 37 degrees south. The latitude between minus 37 and plus 35 looks like. All right, cool. And that lets us set this threshold a bit. Still mostly in the same area. Cool. All right, so let's actually look at one country at a time. We can come back to this full Africa graph, but I might want to start with like, all right, so it looks like the most data we have is Uganda, Nigeria, Sierra Leone. I'm going to start with Uganda. I'm not good at geography, so I'm going to have to start just by saying, okay, take this filter for country equals Uganda. Let's see where it is in the map. Uganda's here, and the thanks for the correction. It's 35 to 37. I'll keep that in mind. So Uganda's here in the map, and let's actually try the map just with you, where I'll say I think I can just get Uganda with borders world regions equals Uganda. The problem is, yep, and then it looks like we have one data point that's outside we have at least one data point that's somewhere else and is mixing this up. So if I'm adding Uganda, I should really say, let's get rid of the theme. And, okay, lat would have to be between, lat is greater than minus, I don't know, minus 2, lat less than 4, so I'll say between. There are other ways to do this, with say like it's in a bounding box. I think that might be a little too overkill for what we're doing today. And then between 25 and 40, I can probably get a little more narrow than that. Yeah, I can actually say 28 and 40 the longitude. Yeah, we have. Yeah, so I don't know why the borders are slightly different in our definitions versus theirs. We're still in pretty like good shape. Okay, so I think we might just start with Uganda, which is again the data set that we have. So that's good context. I wasn't sure if we're going to look at one country or if we're going to look at across many. So yeah, start with all right, and this is a good start for the this country. Now down here, I don't know. For instance, in the southeast, I don't know if this is if say not unpopulated area or if it's populated. We don't have data on from this area on wells. I wonder what ways we go about finding that out. Like, is there other data sets we could join this with? Cities by population, something like that. An issue. The reason I bring that up is this might just be recording where are there cities and people. I'm sure it's highly correlated with where are there people in Uganda. But yeah, that looks like one place would start. Let's ask some more questions about just Uganda. So I'm going to filter down for nice observation from the data digest is that's probably Lake Victory down south. Ooh, that's a good thought. If I had terrain on this, if I knew where deserts and mountains and lakes are, that might help on this and in other countries. So let me put back theme map. So the way to do that is generally ggmap, and I can't remember if I need some kind of special token to use it. It's been a while since I used ggmap. So the advantage of ggmap is that I can say get map and mind myself for a second. If I say an address, okay, if I say get map Uganda, does that just work? Ah, API key. API key. I'm not going to do this today because I'm not going to do it on screen. If I need to get an API key, I'm not going to screencast it. But it would be, wouldn't it be real cool if I could get the uh, if I could get like the put it on an actual map of Uganda? Not going to do that today, but check out ggmap if you're interested. Yeah. So this is probably a lake. Could I just could I search? It's a good idea. I should just look at. Oh yeah, Lake Victoria. Yes, Lake Victoria. Up, so that definitely explains why. And you actually see other lakes. It would be great if we had a data set with bodies of water. I bet we could track one down. But yeah, that would. And wouldn't it be? It would be so cool to have this, but I'm not gonna. So something from I'm really bad with names like Guilherme. Yes, says the ggmap supports other sources. So if I did ggmap. I didn't know that. Can I say get map on another get map? Is that true that I can say open street map? Huh. So if I say get map Uganda source equals OSM, source I'm not seeing any. It doesn't seem to be working. This doesn't work for me. I wonder if the location. Oh, I bet the location needs to be a lat lon if I use. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this. Nope, it's not. It's just not happening yet for me. Even if it's a lat lon. Oh well, but the Okay. So what's the question, Charles, about double equals? I don't see what I'm doing wrong. Then let me see. Get OpenStreetMap. If I just ran this, okay, it's defunct. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know what I don't have a good way to get this map of Uganda in. So all right, so the and again, I'm not going to do the registration process right here. All right, so if I look at if I'm looking at like where these are, yeah, would be cool if we saw things like highways, but oh yeah, some of the things that we're interested in is the is the things like categories. So let's look back at the things that we have. We have status. I'm going to start just with that. Oh, I don't need a sample anymore, or rather not have to sample. I don't think. No, I don't think I should use equals equals. That's logical is not passing. And I don't think I'm missing a parenthesis here. I've got this C. I don't think there's anything here I'm doing that is so somebody's saying we should use source equals equals, but I don't think that's right. Yeah, I don't know if somebody is able to get this to work. Go ahead and paste the code into the window. But yeah, I wanted to return to these questions. Yeah, so I can start with something like, ooh, wow, oh, look at this, huh? Oh man, when I move the sampling, this just gets so pretty because these are like the rivers and such. It would be cool if it would be cool if I put it on top of the and it looks like I got some not so good data right over here. I probably want to throw in 20, make this a little bit closer, let's say 29. I barely even need to know where the rivers are. I can kind of see the outlines of them. Cool, so that at least moved some of the data from over here. It's pretty cool looking. I wonder what happens if I do, I am going to do sample and just while we're experimenting. If I do borders and if I say color equals status ID, I wonder what, like, how many are, that is hard to see. That is hard to see. I actually need a quick thing here where I'll say scale, color, discrete, guide equals guide legend. Shoot, no, it's the. How do I make these dots bigger? I don't remember how. I'm gonna Google how. Legend dot size ggplot2. Guides, aha, guide legend override AES. Oh, that's cool. So I can say, so I think it was right to have this, but I can say over guide legend override AES list size equals 10. That looks great. Probably want to be only a little bit smaller than that, but. And alpha equals 1. Don't be transparent. Don't make these pens transparent. Cool. So this at least let me show it this way. What's an example here? Well, I can actually see that a lot of the green seems to be in one region here. Still, I don't think I'm getting a ton from this visualization. Generally, there's working ones and not working ones kind of everywhere. I'm not seeing all that much from this. I wonder what else I can do. And what if I, just for kicks, what if I tried an unsampled version? Yep, looks like there's a region here with a lot of green in it. Yep, we can see, another thing to notice is which points go on top of other points. It's generally kind of random thing. But the, all right. Yep. Excuse me. And oh, hey, this is interesting. Is I've got, I'm on the wrong, let me get back to the static map in a little bit, but we will definitely try this out. Is this in a quick question? So I want to see if I can get this onto a map. In get map, is this in the examples? Like US, is this in the get map examples? When you say their example code for Stamen maps, where are you finding? Oh, you're seeing it probably in get Stamen map. It has example code, and one of them is US. I'm doing this because I can't actually copy and paste from the text, and it's on a different computer. Well, let me see. US. Some requires Google API key. Good to know. So some of them don't. Hey. This is pretty good. I might actually be able to say, I've actually got the bounding box as left is, so this is launch 29 to 40. Sorry, 29 to 40. And bottom is -2. Top is 4. Let's see how we look. Oh no. No. Smaller zoom. This is, I think the problem is my left minus, oh, it's not minus, is it? Here, we're looking a little bit better. Let's zoom in a little bit more, higher resolution. Aha, and my right is too high. Here we go. Now we're talking. Zoom, let's make the resolution a little higher, maybe enough that it will be able to get the this is looking great. Oh, I'm excited. I don't know about you, I'm pretty excited. I think 4 is actually, I'd like it a little bit higher. I only need to grab it once, and then I can keep visualizing it. Minus 29 to 30, 35, yeah, it just about cuts it off. I can do 29.2 or something, and see the definitely in the right direction. So he's grabbing all these little tiles for this kind of like moderate resolution. It's definitely going to be more informative. We'll see where some of the roads are. We'll see where we'll certainly see where the bodies of water are. And yeah, now if I try ggmap on it, that I think was actually too high resolution. The city names are too small. I'm going to stick with the 8. Looking pretty good. Okay, now I need to combine this. It's been again, it's been a while since I did this. This, I think, yeah, returns a ggplot, but I'm going to need to change the data. So what I do is I think I'd actually say, yeah, I'm going to get rid of the borders. I don't need no more. I've got this. I'm going to separate these two chunks. ggmap. I'm going to add Geom point. But I'm going to say data equals water Uganda here. And I'm going to drop the theme. I think it already has the theme set up. And in my first iteration, I'm going to skip the color. Look at that. Here we go. Thank you. Yes, this is way better. This is I think it's pretty nifty graph. I like to see, some of the things I like to see here. I like to see that this really does go along Lake Victoria, and we can see these other bodies of water. There's also blank areas. I don't know if this is desert or unpopulated area, or if it's area that just isn't covered in this water data set. But yeah, we're definitely seeing like a bit more information now. I wonder if I made it more transparent. See, it's a shame I can't see the city names since they're buried under the dots, but it's like a good start. And I wonder if I made it a little bit more transparent. Does it look any better? A little bit, maybe. All right, if I'm doing a graph like this, I can't really use, how can I use color? I'm thinking for a second about, like, can I use color to, I absolutely can, but if I do, it's going to kind of mix with the colors of the map. So it makes it a little bit harder. But let's take a look at some of the categories we are looking at. Oh, Uganda water. Water Uganda. So within Uganda, we might see differences in terms of like, okay, what are the most common water sources? Mostly borehole, protected swing, undefined shallow well, etc. All right, and we can also see, let's see, Water Uganda count paid. It's not pay, it's pay. And yeah, we're gonna see, yes, tariff. Cool. So if I'm doing anything with this, a lot of missing data. And was there missing data on water source? Yes, but not a lot. I think I probably want to see water source is most interesting. And I think I'm going to want like an FCT lump to put everything into other. Okay, so I think what I'm going to try is if I do water Uganda lumped, water source is FCT lump, water source, top 5, top 1, 2, and top 5 and other. Why do top 5? Because they may want to facet this. But hey, there's very few protected shallow well. Good to know, and I might end up dropping that because that's like so rare compared to the other ones. But I may want to facet this. So I am going to try out. I haven't tried faceting the map, so let's see how it. You know what though? I'm only going to do it on the top 4. So 3 and other. Give this a quick shot. I haven't tried this. I don't know how it's going to look. I'm just thinking the color might be really confusing. Oh, what FCT lump does is really nifty, is it takes the most common and keeps them as they are and lumps everything else into other. Ooh, man, it does not like this facet wrap, I think. Should have done it on a sampled version. Oh, here goes. Oh, I forgot to do it on the lumped version. That's what happened. Oh. So FCT lump, what's great is now I've got these water sources, and if I count water source, I've got only 4. Borehole, protected swing, undefined shallow well, and other. And what happens if I do GG map? Oh, oops. There it is. I was using the wrong variable. Let's give it a second. Yeah, I always forget to sample things. All right, actually, look at this. This is actually a lot closer, lot more informative than I originally expected. I kind of expected maybe to be some differences, but wow, there really are. You can really see the protected springs. All the data classified as those follow mostly along borders or bodies of water, if I'm not overinterpreting that, but not these rivers and such. Undefined shallow well, kind of the same in like, I'm not. It really does look different. It looks like there's protected spring in this area and undefined shallow well in other areas. Oh man, I wonder if I tried using color, and then you have others, which I'm nervous the other might be meaningful, so I'm going to try breaking down into 5 and then 1. Oh, but one of them was really rare. I remember now that we checked it. It's definitely taken its time to run this, but I'm spinning out. So there's no question that there's like space. It's taken a second to re-render. That's why it looks a little weird and stretched. It's taking its time to re-render. It's not a fast graph. But what we can see is, yeah, like all the protected shallow wells are almost all of them are in this region and some here. So that could absolutely be. There we go. There it is re-rendered. Most of them are in this region. Some up here. It could be real. It could also be that data collection process. Different people collected these, categorized things differently. They're collected they report at different times, things like that. So there's actually a lot more we need to say before we really said, okay, here are the regions where particular types of water sources are being used. I will say I think the facet's not perfect, but this would be pretty close to unreadable if you tried doing it as a as colors. So the last thing that I'm going to do is do an FCT reorder. Water source is FCT reorder source by, and actually I want the common ones first. Using the function, I don't want to shrink this, it's going to regenerate it. But using the function length in FCT reorder is a way to get, let's check on this, the water source levels. It's a way to get protected shallow, nope, it's in the reverse order of what I wanted. So I want to say descending is true. I want borehole, then protected spring. I want the biggest ones at the top left going down to the smallest ones on the bottom right. And FCT reorder is a handy way to do that. I know this is hard to read because I shifted it all the way over here. Take its time, take its time. Yeah, so but this is borehole, protected swing, etc. All right, this is, I think, the big map for today. I've got like 3 minutes left, so I think this is where I'm going to stop on the deeper analysis and go review. But there's really, quite a bit like it's interesting here, and yeah, I think colors would not have worked for this, but I really am interested in how the type plays into things like. I'm going to do one or two more quick visualizations on type just in Uganda. And the fear that I have is, what if, let's say, these were done at different times, and things that were counted as protected spring were counted as as undefined shallow well at a different time, or something like that. I'm not sure it's all that likely, but just in case. So what I would do is I would excuse me. What I think I would do is take this and say, let's look at year is report year. So report year is year of report date from Liberdate, count report year, and then yeah, mostly, and then if I say, let's like visualize report year, let's say count report year and water source is FCT. Oh, I got the lumped version, which is good. And then I do an area plot. What is the frequency by each year? And I made a mistake somewhere. I might need to do, let's see, complete. I may need to fill in the remaining ones with 0. Nope, I just made a mistake somewhere. I do not know where I made that mistake, but I do not quite have time. Oh, there it is. And do I still need the 0? I'm going to keep the 0. All right. One thing I see from this, almost everything in Uganda was reported in 2010. I didn't expect that, but it looks like it's true. And then I wonder if the distribution was different across each of these years. A way that I can check that is, instead of looking at the totals, look at the distribution. So group by report year, year total, sum n. Two things, like I want to remove any year total where less than 100 were included, and I want to heck, less than 500, probably not that useful. And then I want to do n over year total. All right, so yes, one thing this really shows is that the surveys happen at different time points. So the and it's a good thing we checked, because like protected shallow well, in 1 year, 2017, that was almost all they reported, or not, that was a majority of what they reported, whereas in other years, very little. Boreholes are all the time, but then protected springs stopped being tracked, stuff like, and yeah, these kinds of analysis. And I also wonder, we said water source, but there's also technology. And I didn't look at technology, but let's take a quick look at the water tech. And then say, so, mostly missing. Maybe that was one of the reasons we didn't use it. So one thing I can learn from this is I should have just started actually with a simple count. Mostly missing. Something's up here because it looks like hand pumps. Oh, okay. 2010 is almost all the data, but was only a small fraction of hand pumps. So this is misleading. I can do n instead. Yeah, so most of the data is, yeah, so I can't actually do much with water tech in Uganda, mostly missing some tap stand. Don't pay a lot of attention to the other stuff. But I definitely can, yeah, this is the kind of, this is like one of just the first things you might want to check if you're wondering, okay, is this data trustworthy? And we can say, okay, no, maybe not. Protected shallow well mostly was reported in a different set of years than the other ones. Protected spring stopped being reported at that time. Maybe they changed definition from one to the other. We don't know exactly why. But those are some of the reasons we might not be able to trust this data right away. But yeah, so I'm not going to do water tech for and similarly, I'm also not going to, I can't look at brand either, because that'll only apply when there's a pump. But yeah, the other question I could have is about pay, but no, we already said that the problem with pay is that not Uganda map. We'd have to clean the pay data first, so I'm not going to work with that yet. What about install year? That's my last thing before I head out. I was going to take a quick look at install year. So I'm curious about is report date versus install year. Presumably very few things will be installed, only bad data will be installed after its report date, but I actually wonder, like, what does that tend to look like? Like, was 2010 a survey of history, and then since then has only been, yeah, what it looks like, what it looks like is 2010 goes a long way back, and over the course of 2010, there was a lot of surveying done, and then for a lot of history installed years, and then since then it's like mostly new ones, but every couple of years, like in 2015, they had a report date that includes a lot of them with different install dates. Yeah, so that's a little bit uh, that I think is kind of interesting. And yeah, the other thing then, I said I would do an animated, if everyone can hold on for, it's up to you if you stick around, but if you'd like to stick around, we can do one more thing where we do an animation of how they've appeared over time. And the first I was curious, like if I look at, let's drop the facet, water Uganda, drop the facet, and I'm actually gonna start by sample just 10,000 just so I can like get a quick visualization of it. Make it a little bigger, a little less transparent. Here we go. And the question is, what if I did a color install year? What would that look like? Unreadable is how it would look because I need to give it a scale, color, I like gradient 2. Low is, let's say, I can't pick blue or green. I don't know. Low is red, high is, those are not going to look different enough. I'm thinking of what, low is red, high is brown, midpoint is 1990. Drop the alpha. Sample, I'm really just experimenting here to see what is there anything I can see? You know, I want to make it an animation. I think I'm not going to be able to, I think I've got to make an animation, or it's just not quite going to be satisfying. So I think I'm going to take sample, I'm going to take this, I am going to start with a sampled version, just so we can do it fast. I am going to bring the map back in, but for now I'm just going to scatter it. And let's do library ggAnimate. Let me go back to my earlier Uganda one. And drop the status. And yeah, what I want to do is say transition. I think we can do transition reveal. And the idea of transition reveal is that data appears at each of these, and it keeps the old data instead of being built up. I think this works. It's been a little bit since I did this. But if I do install year, and the other thing I'm going to do is say, I'm going to keep the sample, and I'm going to say install year is minimum of 1990 and install year. I meant to do p maximum such that nothing happens before 1990, and we just start the map at 1990. And I wonder what this first, and I can drop this. Let me see. And what I do wrong, that's good, is the problem. Here we go. And transition reveal, the dimension for the graduate, this should be set to the same. Oh, nope, never mind. Wait, no, wait. I was hoping that I could just say transition reveal, and it would just work. Oh, points can be kept by giving them a unique group and set keep equals true. Giving them a unique group. Oh man. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm going to do it the way that I'm going to do this the way that I did the old one, which is the post office one, which is to say take. Oh, I hope you don't mind going a little over. Is let's go year is sample first. Map is map by let's see, for every year, install year, seek install year to 2021. Oh, and seek dot, yeah. And filter. Here we go. And yeah, so that actually keeps all the points. And I'll just do transition manual later. I'd like to learn what I did. Transition manual. And here I do an unnest year. That actually gets, that's what I was doing before. Now it's 400,000 points, even out of just 20,000. Ooh, I forgot to do the mutate, didn't I? I forgot to do mutate. Install year is key max 1990. Install year. Now it's smaller. It's only since 1990. I'm going to sample even a smaller fraction. And I would do transition manual by year. So this is only a sample. There's only like a small sample. Here we go. And now it's building it in. Looking pretty sharp. I think we have data here that, actually I'm not sure that there's other data. I think it might just be taking up this part of the map. But yeah, let's add a little bit more data. Let's do 30,000 and let's do theme, labels title equals year, it's cool. Every year we can kind of see a bunch added and get filled in. What's cool, what's interesting here is, what's the difference between this and the post office one we saw a couple weeks ago? The difference is that we're not necessarily seeing new regions being added. Some places we might be. We're not necessarily seeing new regions being added to. We're seeing the same. We were seeing like the same regions get thicker. There's a few exceptions where it's kind of like extending, pushing inward and such. Now, I'm gonna make it I wonder if I did 100,000, just how slow is this going to be? And I think, yeah, the points too thin. They're pretty good. I probably want the points. Now, I normally would try making the water be blue, but the like the points be blue representing water. But in a second, I'm going to put it on top of a map, and then it's going to be. Then I wouldn't want it to be blue. I'm going to kill whatever I was currently trying to do. I think that sample was too big. The problem is, like, yeah, we really do it. It really does have to have a large amount of data here. But the so you can kind of see it fill in. That's pretty cool. Now I wonder if I take ggmap. If I remove, so if I take the same thing and I do point data. Uganda map, and then I add Geom point, latlon, drop this, consolidate these, and let's make it only a few thousand points. Curious how long this takes and how this looks. I've never actually done a ggmap animation, so I'm kind of excited. Ah, here we go. And that is not a lot of points. Let's bring in more. Let's bring in more. So it is still a random sample. This is actually a sample about half their data. We can definitely, like if I wanted to tweet this or something, I could make it the whole thing. But yeah, we actually, and here it goes. You can kind of see it like connecting through new regions just a little bit. That's probably representing various kinds like settlement of new areas in Uganda. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so what did we do today? Thanks for, I appreciate you letting me you folks let me go over. We did a bunch of cleaning, of which I think the most interesting part was the kind of the MDY and removing. We really critically had to remove some of the countries and some of the data that fell outside Africa. We did some counting, but really before long we zeroed in on the idea of maps. After really kind of like zeroing in on doing like a map of Africa, we noticed that the data is a lot more complete in some countries than others. And we ended up deciding to focus in on Uganda, which is here. We definitely could do the same. Nothing we did today couldn't be applied to some of these other countries that we have, for which we have a lot of the water data. So we start with Uganda, create a filtered version, and then make a map just of the region of Uganda. It gets time. And we started asking, like, okay, we could look by things like status. We definitely see, okay, there's a region of the map where stuff is unknown. We really noticed we were really stuck without the water, and I really appreciate everyone in the comments who helped us get set up with this map approach, Stamen map, where we can actually get the we can actually get like a map by water and then facet it by water source or even animate it. And see where these fall relative to bodies of water, relative to cities. I think this is a very interesting way to go about. There are things that's useful, things that's less useful for. I think it's most useful for recognizing bodies of water. It does definitely make it harder if we're looking for something like color. But yeah, seeing things. Let's see if before I finish I can run this with the whole point data. Let's see if it ends up being any good. Yeah, I think the combination really of ggAnimate for animation and ggmap for overlaying our points onto an actual map, not just x and y coordinates, is really potentially powerful. I'm going to take a quick look at the comments for 1 second while I'm letting this render. And note I've got a idea from Charles Snyder, which is if you were asked about your level of interest in Uganda's water supply, you'd say 0 of 10, but it turns out to be kind of fascinating. You know, I think that's true. That's absolutely true. And I found that true of Tidy Text in general. Tidy Tuesday in general is almost any given week. I don't even think when I hear like this week it's about XYZ, I don't think that's interesting or that's not interesting to me anymore because I find I'm never able to predict it. Sometimes I open up the data set and I find that things absolutely fascinate me in terms of what we can learn. A lot of these data sets are very deep and you can really get a lot of detail out of them. And that's like really my favorite thing about Tidy Tuesday. So here we go. And yeah, you can kind of see it complete in. I think if I spent more time on this, I'd want to it really does kind of cover up the existing map, which maybe is unavoidable, but you're losing the names of the cities, but yeah, maybe that's not too bad. And I think if you were interested in the evolution of water supply in Uganda, this would be a great place to start. All right, so that was our set of visualizations this week. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe. I hope you had a lot of fun. I certainly did. I'll see you next week.